Hey there campers and welcome back to the channel. Mark here with another deck tech video for you looking at Star Wars Unlimited. Once again, we're playing in the Star Wars Unlimited League. We've been playing heroism units, or heroism leaders that'll then swap over to our villainy leaders, and I'm currently 3-0 in the league, won all three of the first rounds. We included an added restriction for our gameplay in which I'm doing only Luke Skywalker. All four variants. I'm doing Luke Red, Luke Yellow, Luke Green, and Luke Blue. This week, we did our own take on Luke Blue. Week 1, we did Luke Red, no space units. Week 2, we did Luke Yellow with all of our friends in it. Han, Chewbacca, R2-D2, C-3PO, Leia, Millennium Falcon, Luke Skywalker, you name it, they're all in there. This week, we are doing a unique take on Luke Green. So with no further ado, I'm going to take us over there in just a moment. First off, go ahead and subscribe, hit the bell icon, all those sorts of things so that you know whenever I'm putting stuff out. Okay, now let's jump over to my desktop and take a look at this Luke Green deck. So first off, Luke Skywalker is our leader for this. Vigilance and heroism. Action, spend 1 resource, exhaust Luke, give a shield to a heroism unit that you played this phase. Flips it 6 is a 4/7 with attack, give a shield token to a unit. Energy Conversion Lab we're playing here, 25 health, but allows us to give something that costs 6 or less ambush once per game. I think that you could argue that you could play the 30 health base in this deck. I played Energy Conversion Lab for a couple of reasons, but I think that you could probably go without it and just play the 30 health base. So let's go ahead real quick. Restored Arc 170 for the restore and quick presence in the space lane. Battlefield Marine for, once again, quick presence in the field lane. Spark of Hope for occasional ramp. A couple of Jedi lightsabers. 3 copies of Resupply, 3 copies of Concord Dawn Interceptors. These are pretty standard. 3 copies of Village Protectors, 3 copies of Solari Peacekeeper. You could easily swap this out with Yoda. I think Yoda arguably is probably better. And actually, in the match that I played, I think that I actually played Yoda in this. And so, arguably, I think that Yoda is probably better here. But in this variation, I have a couple of Sundari Peacekeepers. 2 copies of Fell the Dragon to take care of big stuff. 3 copies of Modded Cohort. I think this is a really good card. Ambush Raid 2 comes down basically a 4/4 with ambush with removal. Pretty strong. I really like this card a lot. Played it a lot in, I think, Ray Green, and I think it's very good in this variation as well. 2 copies of Traitorous, because we can afford to slot them in. 2 copies of Rey. This card has been kind of an MVP for me, honestly. Just the 5 resource 4/7s. Pretty hard to get rid of, and if you do play her on turn 6, you can play her, get a shield, flip Luke, give her another shield, which is pretty strong, and then, she can come back and heal the Luke, which is also good. 2 copies of the Marauder, more space lane influence, but also ambush, so basically removal. Then on top of that, occasionally it's going to ramp for you. 3 copies of Obi-Wan Kenobi, 2 copies of Rivals Fall. Here's the spice. 2 copies of Kylo Ren. Believe it or not, Rey very frequently does not die the turn she goes down. And if you have the Rey-Kylo combo, it can be really, really powerful. And what you can do is you can play Rey on turn 5, and then on turn 6, you can Energy Conversion Lab out the Kylo Ren, giving Rey the +2/+0 and the experience token. Then the Rey attacks in as a 7/8 that heals the Kylo and shields him, and then you can still flip the Luke on that turn. It makes for a pretty crazy turn if you Energy Conversion Lab Kylo, the Luke Skywalker. Now, granted, I guess Kylo can't really come out on 6 because of the fact that you have a double aspect penalty, so it technically costs you 10. You only get to ignore just the villainy aspect on him, so he is going to cost you 8. I guess maybe a better representation, he's pretty good with U-Wing reinforcement. I know you might be like, oh, why the heck is this card in the deck? He's fun. I really like him, and I like the Rey. It was a little Rey-Kylo spice in the deck. 3 copies of Luke Skywalker. Sorry, the dog's in the background. 3 copies of U-Wing reinforcement. 2 copies of Home 1. 2 copies of Reinforcement Walker at the top. This is pretty much a control, a little bit of rampy deck, a little bit of spice with the Kylo Ren Rey combo in there, just because they can bounce off of one another, which is really cool and quite a bit of fun. Let me know what you think about this deck list in the comments below. We're going to go ahead and jump into a couple games over a Karabast, see if we can't pull out a couple of wins with this spicy Luke Green Energy Conversion Lab list. Okay, guys, we're here playing against Bosk Blue. Probably not the easiest matchup for us. A lot of control in this deck. But we are going to go ahead and give it a try, see if we can't pull out a win against it. Maybe at least get something that's close. I don't think we're going to take the mulligan here. We're pretty happy with this hand. No ramp in the hand, which is kind of not great, but that's okay. I think it's going to be probably safe to get rid of the Traitorous. We have a lot of these things at kind of the 5 cost. I think that the Ewing reinforcement in particular is going to be pretty important. We want to have something that we can play on 3. So we're just going to go ahead and get rid of the Marauder here. And then we'll get that Restored Arc out into the Sundari Peacekeeper. The Sundari Peacekeeper is a good target for Energy Conversion Lab. Now, I will say this. Okay, putting top target on, allowing him to heal. We're totally okay with that. That's just giving him something that he can kind of like throw some damage out on. Totally understand that. Okay, then he's going to go ahead and pass. The Fell the Dragon, pretty important here, I think, but so is the Reinforcement Walker. Let's go ahead and get rid of Fell the Dragon for now, and we will just go ahead and take the 2 points of damage while we can get it. And then I think we're just going to go ahead and play this Sundari Peacekeeper. Yeah, he's just going to keep damaging this, which totally makes sense. Let's get the Sundari Peacekeeper out. This thing has a nice chunky bit of health, so even if he does, start targeting this thing with, say, bounties, we're in a relatively good position. Okay, let's go ahead and claim initiative here. And our opponent, yeah, of course, there we go, perfect. Okay, the Spark of Hope is actually pretty bonkers here, I think. So we could remove this, or we could theoretically just, get the Spark of Hope going. I think we're pretty sure, he's going to remove this Restored Arc, so let's get the Spark of Hope. The Bosk does come out on 5, so we just want to be aware of that. Let's just get the 2 damage on him. This is going to heal him up the 4, we know that. Oh, okay. We'll Spark of Hope the Sundari Peacekeeper, that's totally fine. He's going to exhaust, just heal up full here. We're totally okay with that as well. This sort of just like passive ability to just kind of like heal up and, whatever. Is a little bit tough for us. We are going to be able to Ray and Shield Ray, and we might even be able to just Energy Conversion Lab out the Ray here, which is going to be well worth it. He's going to take the heal there, and then probably pass to us. The Obi-Wan Kenobi is also really strong here. Double Reinforcement Walker, very good. Let's get rid of 1 Reinforcement Walker. I think in this case, we're actually going to Energy Conversion Lab here, because we're kind of getting to the point we're going to be top end of it. Do we Energy Conversion Lab the Obi-Wan Kenobi or the Rey? I think we're going to go ahead and Energy Conversion Lab the Rey, just finish the attack. And oops, hold up. We want to undo that last action. Not sure what happened there. Okay, we're going to play the Rey. You want to ambush? Yes, we're going to heal ourselves and then ambush into it. Always mess that up. Rey's proc always makes you kind of heal before you get that ambush in. Just need to always be aware of that. This is a pretty big round for us. I think being able to shield here is particularly important. We'll kind of see what our opponent does. Can easily get hit with... The nice thing about Rey is she is kind of out of the way of, say, like Takedown and a few other things. This comes in as a 6/6. Oh, wow. He has 4 blue cards in hand. Okay. Well, we at least know the fullness of what he has in hand. He has 4 blue cards in hand. Probably going to see the Bosk coming out here. He's just going to take the initiative. Let's just put the Luke out and give another shield token here. And then we'll take the pass. This turn, we're almost certainly just going to be using Ewing reinforcement here. This guy only at 2 health left. Keeping in mind, on turn 6, he's just going to immediately Rivals Fall us. Okay, let's go ahead and pull out. We could get some modded cohorts here. We could also get, man, our Kylo would have been great here. We could also get this, but I'm not sure how good that is. The 4 would remove something, but then we're really not doing a whole lot else. Let's go ahead and do this and just kind of see. Yeah, pass. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and ambush. We just want to get rid of his stuff. Our opponent really doesn't have a whole lot else he can do outside of, okay, yeah, the Bosk is going to come out. That makes a lot of sense. Let's go ahead and just give a shield over here. And then the Bosk, of course, is going to come in here, and we'll claim initiative. This is going to let us get our Reinforcement Walker out. Granted, this deck probably has a fair amount of removal left in it. We just need to keep that in mind. The second Ewing reinforcement is a pretty good deal here. That might be sort of the play. I think let's do that. Let's do the second U-Wing, and we were hoping, in this case, we were hoping for the Luke Skywalker. We did not see the Luke Skywalker. Instead, we see, let's grab these two instead, I think. Have gone through a lot of cards from our deck. And yeah, that's totally fine. Okay, there we go. We could give another shield token out here with our Luke as well, which is pretty important. He's going to be forced to attack into this, which is good for us. Once again, we're just trying to put some pressure on our opponent. Blue control is pretty hard to combat. So I'd say there's a good chance. Oh, just going to force choke something? Interesting. Just going to get rid of the Sundari Peacekeeper. That's fine. Just trying to eliminate as much damage as he can. I totally understand that. Give a couple of shield tokens here. See what our opponent wants to do. That draw, giving us a resupply, really not very good for us in this case. Power of the dark side. Let's just go ahead and we'll get rid of this. Our opponent just doing his best to basically just be able to eliminate, our big guys. We do have a couple copies of Home 1 in the deck, though, still, and I don't expect him to attack with Bosk here, but, either way, I'm just going to remove. Chooses not to attack with Bosk. Makes a lot of sense. We're going to get rid of the resupply here. At 10 resources, we can now play the Battlefield Marine and the Reinforcement Walker. And so, see what our opponent wants to do. Let's go ahead and attack into the Bosk here. We'll just get rid of him. And never really got to get any reward or anything off that Bosk, which is pretty good for us. Our player is going to pass. Let's go ahead and get out the Battlefield Marine. See what our opponent wants to do. If our opponent passes again, I think we just take the initiative. Here. He's going to use the takedown. Okay. That we feel very comfortable with. That's totally fine with us. We'll get the Obi-Wan Kenobi out here. See what our opponent has in hand. We do need to just be aware that it's pretty easy for us to get hit with things like, there's just a lot of like high damage stuff that we theoretically could get hit with here. A lot of like board clears and stuff of that nature. Okay, there the rivals fall. We'll take the 2 experience tokens there. We are on 10 resources here, which does mean that we're really only playing one thing here, which is not ideal. Let's just take the opportunity to get the 4 points of damage on his base. This is totally fine. He's starting to run out of good removal, and we still have a lot of fire in our hands. Do we want to draw the modded cohort? I don't think so. I think we're okay ditching the modded cohort here. Our opponent's almost certainly going to take initiative here. Let's go ahead and... Oh, we have nobody to give the shield to, because this is not a heroism unit. Okay, the Fell the Dragon, particularly good against... particularly good against, say, like an Avenger or something here. So I think to a certain extent, we want to keep this in hand, which means, unfortunately, I think we have to get rid of the Kylo Ren. Let's go ahead and just go to 11 resources here. And there's the Fell the Dragon. I think we're totally okay with that. At 5 resources remaining, we're just going to play this out. Actually, let's undo that. Let's take the 4 damage to his base. We don't mind taking 2 damage here. It's totally fine with us. And then we can play the Obi-Wan Kenobi and the Rey, which seems pretty good. Spark of Hope will just resource away here. Kind of see what my opponent wants to do. I would expect us to see maybe like a Super Laser Blast here. It's kind of what we've been waiting for, is to get hit with a Super Laser Blast. But, he may have just not drawn it as well, which would be great for us. We have 3 things at 4 life, and which puts us, this thing's in takedown range, but none of these things are in range of cards like Fell the Dragon. He's just going to take the 2 damage to base. We're totally down with that. We will just heal this and take 4 damage to his base. Kind of see what our opponent wants to do here. I don't think he takes that 2 points. Our opponent's going to pass. We're going to take the 4 points of damage to his base here. See what our opponent does. He's got to know that we're just going to take the damage and then claim initiative. We're definitely not going to put anything on this board. It's totally on our opponent right now, to be the one to sort of initiate stuff. We don't have the ability to have anything die here, which is a bit of a bummer. And so let's just take the 2 damage on his base. And our opponent probably just going to go ahead and claim initiative here. Let's play the Kylo Ren out, believe it or not, and then we'll pass. Okay, the U-Wing reinforcement to refill here is pretty good. We also have the Luke Skywalker. If he does remove something, we can just remove the Snoke. We are 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 damage. We're within range to just kill him. So once again, it's on our opponent to interact. The moment our opponent interacts here, we're just going to pass. We're going to keep our hand here. Totally feel comfortable keeping this hand. Once our opponent interacts with our board, there's the Super Laser Blast coming down. Okay. And we sort of expected that as much for our opponent to clear our board. So let's see, what can we have here? With 7 resources, we're just going to take the Obi-Wan here. We'll just take the Obi-Wan. My opponent should pass here, and then we will refill our board. And then we'll pass. Double Rivals Fall here. We're going to actually resource one of the 2 Rivals Falls, I think, and go ahead and resource a Rivals Fall, which is totally fine with us, and see what my opponent has. In case he has, say, like an Avenger or something, we are able to actually hit with the Luke and with the Rivals Fall in 1 turn. Okay, I think this is just a clear, we just Rivals Fall. That's 7. We're 1 off of just being able to finish the game right now. The second Snoke coming down, we're just able to kind of keep up the pressure here. Top target coming in, we'll take the 4 damage on his base. It is a bit of a bummer that our opponent just going to claim initiative here. I think that did we play these last round? No. Okay, I think that we just take this as an opportunity. We can play all of these. We only need 1 point of damage on his base at this point. So we're playing around, theoretically, Super Laser Blast, by just like keeping as many things on our board. Okay, the Rivals Fall comes out, and there it is, guys. We get the first win. We get the he heals a bunch of life there. Oh, I thought we had that. Okay, we're just gonna take the 5 damage to his base. Was able to figure out a way to get around us there. We're just gonna be able to remove this though, and there it goes. And our opponent is probably going to do that. Let's just throw one of these out, and then let's shield our Luke Skywalker. 2 copies of Home, 1 in hand. Great card, great card. Good place to be. We're going to actually play out a lot of stuff from here. I wish we had something that could just attack his face directly. We're hoping for not a second copy of Super Laser Blast at this point. Vigilance, to be able to heal up by 5. He's just sort of buying himself as much time as he can. And we're just going to take the 6 damage on his base. He's got to get rid of both of these in 1 turn. I think that we've got the GG. We're finally able to just exert the pressure on him. The second Vigilance coming in, healing himself up another 5 damage from his base. Unfortunately, we have the 5 damage there. And just the 1 damage with the Concord Dawn to win the game. Let's go, guys. There it is, first game. Let me know what you think about the deck. We're going to go ahead and try to jump into a second game. Okay, guys, we're up against something that's a bit of the exact opposite of what we have been up against in a full aggro match here. We are going to take the mulligan because we just don't have anything to play on turn 1. We really want to make sure that we have something to play on turn 1 here. This is an equally bad hand, though. Without any Concord Dawn, without our Village Protectors, we're in a bad spot. So we're just going to go ahead and resource those 2 away, see what my opponent wants to do here on turn 1. We are going to be able to get the Battlefield Marine, which isn't bad. Oh, we're just going to take the Daring Raid to face here, evidently, just right off the get, okay? We're going to put out the Battlefield Marine. That's an odd play from my opponent, if I'm being totally honest with you. I mean, 2 points of damage is 2 points of damage, but he could have easily done the Daring Raid and then the Tarkin down to be able to get rid of my guy here. Oh, okay, we're playing the second Daring Raid. Maybe he's going to do that. Maybe we're looking at Daring Raid, second one into Battlefield Marine. In that case, puts him in a relatively good spot. Let's see, who does our opponent want? Okay, yeah, he's going to take the 2 damage in there, which makes sense. I'm going to go ahead and claim initiative. Yeah, he's probably just going to use the Tarkin down and get rid of that. Yep, totally makes sense. But we did get rid of a lot of the stuff in his hand. I think in this case, no matter how much I'd like to resupply to steal something, I think that the play is to get the village protectors out as quickly as possible. Just try to stump my opponent's ability to get through. This serves as such a fantastic wall. Also very likely to keep me with initiative. Right now I have nothing to play next turn, so it would be really good if we could draw another village protectors, or say a modded cohort maybe, would both be excellent. Okay, Kylo's going to go ahead and use his ability. We kind of figured that might happen. Gonna give this thing a +2/+0, but he's just gonna deal 2 damage to a unit or a base. So my guess is he's gonna try to pop the shield on our village protectors here. What are we going to discard? You're gonna discard the TIE Fighter, something he could play this round, but he's not gonna be able to play it this round because he doesn't have the resources for it. Oh, he's gonna take that 2 damage to our base instead. That's interesting. That's not what I expected to have happen there. We're gonna take the damage into MiGs so that he can't remove anything here off the bat. And then we're just going to attach the Jedi lightsaber here, I think. So let's get rid of the MiGs so he can't get any value with discarding something with Kylo Ren. And then we'll put the Jedi lightsaber on him, which will just allow him to remove the Kylo Ren. Oh, our opponent is just going to claim initiative, which means we're just going to put the shield on. And we're going to easily take that as a pass turn there. We can now energy conversion lab out the Rey or the Sundari Peacekeeper, or we can just claim something with Traitorous, all of which is pretty good. Our opponent's had an interesting hand here. Chooses not to flip the Kylo. I guess he just didn't want to attack into the village protectors. It was smart in the end of the day. But he could be at the point right now where this 5/5 with a 5/5 with Sentinel wasn't in our opponent's way. This deck isn't particularly good against really, it looks like our opponent may have just disconnected, decided he didn't want to play against us anymore. Guys, it's a cheap win, but it's a win, right? It's a cheap win, but it's a win. We'll give our opponent a second to see if they reconnect. Well, you can see that this deck can match up pretty well against a couple of different things. It can match up pretty well against aggressive stuff, just keep putting in stuff out. It can also match up pretty well against, I guess I'd say control stuff, keep putting stuff out. We saw that in the Bosk Blue match. You can also do pretty well against sort of aggressive decks. See that in the Kylo Red. Just totally disabling people with things like Village Protectors and our ships. A lot of just the blue stuff to get shields. So very, very strong. You add that in with a lot of the restore that we're getting from Command Green faction in this deck. It turns out to be really good. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like, subscribe, hit the bell icon, all of those things. And hey, I'll see you in the next video for Luke Blue.